Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM21 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. It's part 44 today and we're back for a big couple of games. It's the busy winter period and I take Derby to my beloved Luton Town, a side that we failed dramatically with in the FM21 Touch Christmas series. And hopefully this time we can pile the misery on them from a Derby perspective. We then face Blackburn at home, a bit of a middle of the table clash, as we're starting to look up at the playoffs rather than down at Luton in the relegation zone. Now that could all change based on the results. One of our young coaches, Chris Cohen, is now through a manager, and of course he's a former Nottingham Forest star. Played there for many a years, coached there for a long time as well. So that's going to be an interesting little side note to the story. Luton are also at Power Court, the new stadium which is just about to start getting built in real life. So there are so many little ingredients to this episode. We're winning games, we're doing well. We have had a few injury problems and still have one up front today, but overall we've had a good start at Derby and we're really happy with the decision we've made. So if you're looking forward to the episode and you are enjoying our stint at our new club and our first move to England of course, please do put a thumbs up on the video, subscribe down below for daily FM21 content from 2 long-term stories, and of course you can catch up with all the playlists, the live stream series, the first couple of episodes at Derby and the podcast channel in the eye above. Loads of championship predictions over there every single match day, as well as interviews with former Derby and Luton players, and much more as well. But let's start very quickly before we get into those 2 games with a bit of a review of our fixtures, because you were with me last time for a dream start. Yes, they were both tense victories. We had 3-0 leads and managed to throw them away, but still clung on for a 3-2 victory. It was followed though by a bit of a more difficult stint on the road. Firstly, a 2-1 defeat away at Hull. Jonathan Lecco equalised, but it wasn't enough. We went down to a late winner. Against Stoke, remarkably, it was 3-2 at home again. We got 3-0 up before half-time, Callum Morton with a hat-trick, and then late on it came back to 3-2. Josh Laurent, one of our stars from FM19 with Torquay, he got a goal for Stoke at championship level. But I don't know what it was about the home games. I thought it was just going to happen every single time. 3 in a row, a very familiar pattern, and one we were a slight bit concerned about. But away at Reading, we did fall to a 1-0 defeat, an early goal from Ovi Ajaria, before bouncing back with a different result at home to Fulham. We went 1-0 down, but came back in the second half, and Callum Morton's penalty, and super sub Arvin Afia with a brilliant strike, got us a 2-1 victory against the relegation scrappers. And then last time out, we got the monkey off our back. We won an away game, this time at Middlesbrough. And it was that man off the bench again, Arvin Appiah, in the 92nd minute. Really doing a trick for us. Now, I don't like to start him, particularly on the road, because he's a little bit flamboyant. He's one of those flair players that cuts in. So he doesn't suit the shape. But he has seemed to have an impact on us late in games, where we got to that hour mark and we were getting dragged back and back and back by other teams. He's given us that outlet and kept teams defensively a little bit deeper than they would be. So Arvin Appiah has been a star, and his technique's following suit as well. So away to Luton we go. Elliot Lee out still at the club. A fair few of the familiar names still at Luton. Sonny Bradley, James Collins. Of course, Chris Cohen now as manager rather than coach or assistant. But there's loads of names you'd recognise even 5 years in. In addition to the ones we mentioned, George Grant's back at the club. Jordan Clark and Luke Berry still there as well. And a few players we know well from other saves, the likes of Lucas Beja, again from Torquay and FM19. Dan Crowley's a quality player on 30 grand a week. So Luton Town not doing bad for themselves. They're having a tough year this year and trying to change it around, because they are dragged down in the bottom 3 as it stands. But we've got to try and do our job professionally and put our loyalties to one side, because Luton Town are 22nd in the league. They're just in that relegation zone on 20 points. And if we win today, we go 14 points clear of them. And for me, that's when we start to look at the playoffs. Only 5 points off there, but 2 games in 3 days. And we've got a small squad, we've got a squad with a few injuries, and we're missing our star striker. So an almost sold out Power Court, a brilliant sight to see. And let's look at the 11 we've gone for today. So everyone's got a medium or light match load. We're still missing out on Morton, of course. A couple of others dropping out. Whittaker just coming back to the bench after an injury himself. Appiah's going to stay there, but he will be a used substitute yet again. So at the moment, we've gone for Jonathan Lecco up front, just to keep that advance forward, that pace in behind, that little bit of technique on the finish as well. And then we've got Brown on the left wing, our backup left back, but got all the attributes going forward. And good for a youngster to get that experience too. Jason Knight's back in for his first game following injury, so we're almost back to full strength now. We've got Bulker in goal, Kasha Messina the fullbacks with Clark and Bielik centre half. Pearson's in as the deep-lying playmaker, Lenihan staying on the bench for now, not been in great form. Bird and Knight in midfield, and then Hall and Brown on the wings with Lecco up front, and just Whittaker coming back on the bench, and Callum Morton, who's not fit to get in the squad. They're the only two missing from our first 11 as we go to Power Court, and it's Luton Town we're facing, a side that are struggling, so let's see if we can go and rub salt in the wounds. A few of the familiar names still starting, Sonny Bradley into his 30s, a couple more on the bench in the shape of Jordan Clark in particular. And still a pretty good squad to be fair. We've got to bear in mind that there's quality in this team. So we're going to prove a point. We've still got critics on our back despite the performances, but we're getting the players on side, we're getting the fans on side. And to be fair, we've only lost 2 games, so let's see if we can keep it that way. We're back with 15 on the clock as Dylan Phillips takes a long goal kick for the host today. It's headed away though, and as far as Brown on the left wing. Gets it inside to Pearson. We switch back from the anchor man to the deep line playmaker role, just trying to create a bit more through midfield, and you can see him spraying it wide there to Messina. Overlapping from fullback, finds Max Bird, cuts it into Jason Knight. The Irish international goes back to Bielik, the Polish international at centre back. Out to Matty Cash on the right. Had a good start to his stint with us, and he gets to the byline here. Cuts it to Hall, falls for Bird, and Max Bird makes it 1-0 to Derby. We've not seen a huge amount from him since joining so far, but Hall and Cash on the right combining well, and the amount of passes that led to it, a brilliant move too. As Knight plays a 1-2 with Cash on the right, into Lecco. Heads just over, almost 2 in 2 minutes. And I tell you what, we're not perfect yet. We're not the finished article. We're still far too flaky at the back. We still struggle once we get 1 or 2 key injuries. And we've got a little bit of susceptibility from set pieces. But otherwise, some of the football is so promising here. As we win it back again with Knight. Finds Pearson, plays out from the back to Hall. And now can he bring it clear on the right-hand side? He skins his man, runs past halfway. He's got Lecco up with him, who he finds. Jonathan Lecco to the right byline. Means there's no one in the box, but 3 are getting up now. And he's been brought down for the penalty. Who's going to take it is the big question. We've got Pearson, who's got a penalty taking rating of 10. Or Lecco, who's his 9, but a better finisher. So I'm going to go for Jonathan Lecco to take it. He's definitely the man in form. And we've seen he's already scored a goal under our management. So let's get him stepping up. The makeshift striker, 1-on-1 from 12 yards with Dylan Phillips. And he puts it into the corner. The keeper goes the right way, but he had no chance with the pace and direction. And with 28 minutes on the clock at Power Court, it's Luton Town 0, Derby County 2. Well, 2 minutes of stoppage time, we make it to the break. It has been a stunning performance. A proper dominant display. We haven't done that too often in my time here. We've been very efficient going forward. At times, we've soaked up a bit of pressure from open play, even if not from set pieces. But I've got to be honest, this has been a proper performance. I've just noticed Fulham are winning again. They're flying up the league right behind us too. And although Millwall are winning, keeping that gap to 5, we really are doing well, as Harness picks it up on the right-hand side for the hosts. A better spell from them here as it dropped down from the corner, in towards Johnson, who loses out to Clark in the air. Falls for Thompson in the middle for Luton. Back to Villamarine. The right-back tries to find Crowley. He's obviously the playmaker for them, but it's nicked back and Messina's got it at left-back. Chance to bring it forward. Tries to switch the play. It's under here. It's the first big mistake, though we've nicked it again with Jacob Hall. Brings it out wide to Matty Cash, who's on the halfway line on the right, into Max Bird. And he switches it left. Not enough on it though. Villamarine downfield. Pearson loses out in the air. Harness brings it down. It's been a bit scrappy in this first couple of moments. The second half not started as well for us. Harness coming forward. What we've got to make sure is we don't get caught out here as Hackett beats his man. Chance to cross from a deeper position. Does just that. Bird heads it away well. Now can Lecco support? He can't. Thompson wins it. Goes over the top. Lake's got himself in. That is awful defending. But I think we've got away with it. The offside flag is up. It looked very close indeed, but we'll take it. A dodgy start to the second half, but still a 2-0 lead. And with an hour on the clock, it's Matty Cash on the right-hand side. A real chance for us to get a third here. If we could do it in the second half, that would be great. But Knight's lost out to Crowley, and now it's a chance for Luton to come forward. Dempsey in the centre circle, over towards Harness. Gets in far too easily there. It is 2-1. Marcus Harness scores. What is it with us and second halves, honestly? The lack of quality and the lack of composure and discipline is frightening. In this game, it's more annoying because we should have been 4 or 5 ahead. And we've just not managed to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to make that change on the left. We're going to bring Whittaker on, his first game back from injury. And in fact, actually, I might just bring on Appiah instead because he's been the more suited player. He'll be an inverted winger on support. And then we might replace Lecco with Whittaker up front, just to give us that little option there. We'd like to get him some minutes back on the clock, and he's only scored the penalty. Otherwise, he'd rate in a B and a sixes. As Appy has got it again on the left-hand side. Cuts in well. He's got two up with him. Goes alone, full of confidence. But this one's over the bar, I'm afraid. Lecco back into the sixes. Let's replace him with Morgan Whittaker. Not so much pressure playing as the striker. And Knight's back from injury too. So we'll rest him for Jensen Weir. In fact, no. We're not going to do that one. What we're going to do, because Bielik's been poor at the back, we're going to bring on Lenihan. We're going to put Pearson as the box-to-box midfielder. And then Bielik is going to become the anchor man on defend. We just want to give ourselves that little bit more solidity. We'll drop the wing-backs to defensive duty. And we'll just try and actually adapt earlier on. See out the game better. 2-1 to Derby with 15 to go. And after the first half performance, it would be criminal if we didn't win this game. Well, Luton have gone 4-3-3, and I haven't even had time to change the tactic before the highlight. Crowley goes alone to the edge of the box. Appia nicks it. Long downfield, only finds Sonny Bradley. Wasn't directed well. Thompson gets it to Clark, to Harness. Nicked by the left-back Messina. Up to Whittaker, who skins Bradley. Must have the legs on him. Bradley was slow in his 20s. Whittaker gets to the box, finds Appia, has to score again. And Arvin Appia, for the third game running, has scored an important goal off the bench. It is Luton Town 1, Derby County 3. And this, with super subs galore, is starting to turn into a dream start. 6 wins out of 8, I think that is now. Derby County win again. And we are flying towards the playoffs in the Championship. And we'll be back in a moment to face Blackburn, as we could get even closer. I'll see you there. Time for our second game of the day then. And unfortunately, Callum Morton is still not fit. Morgan Whittaker, still 75 minutes maximum. We'll get him some more football off the bench again. And with 3 games in a week, we've got to rotate a bit. We've got to accept that. And with this one at home against Blackburn, then away to Bristol City, they're 2 very different sorts of ties. And then we'll go full reserve in the FA Cup. I hate doing it because I love the competition. But this isn't the right year to fight for it. So against Premier League Leeds on the road, it will be a full reserve or returning to fitness team. In terms of expiring contracts, our director of football has offered one to Jordan Brown, who has of course largely been on the bench for us so far. But for everyone else, he seems to be sticking to his guns for now. The same applies to the staff contracts, the same applies to the youth ones. So let's just go and get into it. Derby County v Blackburn, just 2 points separate us in the league. And if we win today, we could be within 2 of the playoffs. Thankfully, we're 14 clear of relegation. We've not got to think about that now. And it's all about, can we get in the top half? Can we get in a comfortable position? And can we potentially get near the playoffs? The transfer window opens soon. We've got one little bit of news off camera as well. That is our youth intake preview. So if we have a look at the candidates, unfortunately, it's not the news we were hoping for. One good young English central defender from Loughborough, which we can get excited about, but otherwise not a great group of players. And Darren Wassell has got a good personality, is an excellent coach, and a brilliant judge of character. So if he says it's not very good, I'm inclined to trust him. But let's go and get into the on-the-pitch action. A second game of the day against Blackburn. And of course, given where we were, and given the short-term nature of the head coach, this is exactly what we've got to achieve. Success on the pitch, far more important than looking flashy and doing well off it, as much as we try to help the sides we're with. So I think, based on the last performance, we're going to go with the same 11. I'm tempted to bring Whittaker back in the left. But if we start him today, then will he get injured? Will he be available at the weekend? I think I'd rather him come off the bench yet again. So we're going to stick with that for now. The same 11 that started against Luton. And the Boxing Day special, we'll be hoping for a repeat of. Because we'll take a 3-1 win if you offer it now. Let's go and see if we can do it. Derby County v Blackburn Rovers. Well, we've just had a surprise here. Because look at some of the names in this Blackburn team. Mitrovic is on the bench. Riyad Mahrez is starting for them. Must be into his 30s, but I reckon he's still probably got a bit of ability. Anthony Gordon, a young star at Everton. And then Jack Simpson, who's just, I think, signed a pre-agreement with Rangers in real life. So there are some very strange names in this team. A bit of a weird mix as well between youth, experience, high reputation, up-and-comers. But we've got the lads motivated. We're going to do our best. And I've got to go and look at Riyad Mahrez. Let's have a look at him. So well over the hill physically, must have had some injury troubles to dip at 33. But he is brilliant technically, still got all that quality, not even starting regularly for them. Had been at Arsenal the 2 years before. And I tell you what, he's not had any big injuries, he's just had loads of little ones in succession. And he's never really recovered from it. But let's go and get into it. We're 5 minutes in and we're back with the ball on the right. Hall finds Cash on the overlap and this led to one of our goals at the midweek game in Boxing Day. But eventually this one's cleared away to Vale. Another good young player in real life. Gets it wide to the left-hand side. No real support up with him though. Goes alone. He's not going to need it, is he? Gets brought down by Bielik. What a stupid tackle. Nobody in the box. Nobody up in support. And he's gifted Blackburn a chance at the lead. Pride Park's still not full. The fans not back on side completely yet. As Vale puts the penalty in. A good spot kick. And what a ridiculous way to go behind. If we're going to do it for the second game in a row at home, we're going to have to come from 1-0 down. We managed it against Fulham. Can we do it against Blackburn? Let's go and see. 5 minutes to half time. We have seen next to nothing in this half. It has not been a good game to watch at all. As Bird finds Knight, he's got an overlap on the right with Hall. Here he goes. Can we make it count? It's back to the edge of the box and Knight's brought down. A good opportunity, but we've certainly not set the world alight in this half. And after the Luton game, where the first half we were so dominant, this has probably been one of our worst performances so far. Though Max Bird has just hit the post with a stunning free kick. Lecco recycles it, goes back to him again. It's a great opportunity. To Jason Knight. Out to the left-hand side to Bielik, who gave away that penalty. Finds Clark at left-back. And unfortunately, the two centre-halves have been poor today, and it may well cost us. As Messina's got a throw on the left-hand side. We seem to have come to the party now, but it's a bit late. Nearly half-time, and we've only got a minute of stoppages added on. As Pearson goes left to Andre Brown. Gets towards the byline. Archie Brown, sorry. Getting my names mixed up now. The keeper's flapped at it, and how has that gone in? What on earth has happened there? The defender tries to clear it as the keeper palmed it out poorly. It's smacked into Texera on the back, and it bounced off him into his own net. Absolutely stunning way to get back on terms. And albeit Blackburn scored with their only shot of the game from the spot, we've not been brilliant, but we got the result at half time. 1-1 into the second half we go. Now can we build on it? Because that was the bit of luck we need. Well, we've got an injury on the right wing already. Hall is the man. I almost don't want to bring Appiah on the right because he's been so successful on the left. But I'm going to do it anyway. He'll become an inverted winger, something he's very good at. Can do it naturally off both sides in truth. And let's hope he's as effective on the right. As Dabo throws into Riyad Mahrez. Brown nicks it at the back, finds Messina. Combining well there, and I guess that's the benefit of having a left-back playing further ahead. A bit like Ryan Bertrand in the Champions League final many years ago. As Appiah flicks on the long clearance, Simpson gets there. Down the line towards Gordon. He holds it up on the left and falls the midfielder there. Gets past Knight and he's going it alone. Back into Texera, the unfortunate own goal specialist. Finds Gordon on the left again. Beats the right back, gets into the box again. Bielik closes him down, doesn't get there. And Mahrez has somehow put that wide. An absolutely awful effort at the back. And Blackburn probably should have been 2-1 up. We'll keep an eye on it to the hour mark. And I think we're going to have to make some changes because there's been problems again. Pearson in the holding role, not really been good enough. Bielik has been a liability at the back, if nothing else. So Lenihan on for him. The same with the anchor man. That's going to work a treat for us. And we'll get back into it. We will make substitutions soon, especially the striker, because Jonathan Lecco's not had a good game. Although Brown on the left is shattered, so I'm going to have to take him off instead. Morgan Whittaker on. 20 minutes to go. Can we hold on? Can we get a winner? Can we do something special here? We're going to demand more from the boys. We're going to go positive. We've got 7 minutes left on the clock. But I think we're just out of puff after all the games in quick succession. As it's headed away by Messina at left back to Max Bird. Can we nick it with 5 to go? Bird's coming forward. What a turnaround this would be as Appiah gets it right side of the box. The cross is poor. It's cut back and it's cleared downfield. And this is where Blackburn can be dangerous. Mitrovic gets onto it on the left-hand side. Cuts it back into midfield. Al-Masrati back into midfield again. Out to the left-hand side to Mitrovic. It's good play from Blackburn. They're starting to look a threat despite not having many chances. Brown gets himself in and he somehow put it wide. We survive with Derby. I think we're going to nick a point. But it probably should have been so much more. 4 minutes of stoppage time left at Pride Park. And we're going to have to settle for it. Our first draw in charge. A decent result, but not the best performance in the world. We'll tell the boys they're unlucky. We want to keep them on side. But in truth, I almost look at that as 2 points dropped because we had so many chances to win it. And Millwall win their game as well. So 7 points to the playoffs now. But given where we started, I don't think we can complain. We've got the goal difference back to 0 for the club. Hall's injury just 1 to 2 days. Yakambash, he's not very happy, is he? He'd like to go out on loan. That suits me very well, sir, because I don't see a room for you in this team. You're declining physically. and the director of football will sort that out for you. So fingers crossed that'll all come off. I don't know when we're going to come back here. I'm going to assume we're not going to get through in the FA Cup. I just want to look out at the ones around the transfer window closing. Wolves, West Brom and Barnsley. Who's up at the top? Because I think we want to show those, don't we? Barnsley are down in 20th. Wolves are top. West Brom are 4th. So that's the next episode. Wolves and West Brom in a big double header. The transfer deadline day in January as well. Will our new director of football be as good as the ones in Scotland? Will we end up with multiple assistant managers like we so often did in Scotland? And will we have some more hectic transfer windows to enjoy? It's our favourite part of the head coach series. Can be the most frustrating too, but it's something we're certainly looking forward to with our new club derby. An excellent start so far. 6 wins, 2 defeats and just the 1 draw. 19 points out of 27, an absolutely brilliant run. But now we're coming up against some of the big boys. And after a fairly friendly start of the club, we've got the real test yet to come. So if you're looking forward to that one and you are enjoying the series, please do put a thumbs up on the video. If you want to stay up to date and make sure you don't miss the transfer special, subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on. You'll get alerts as daily content releases from 2 long-term stories. We've had our first big European adventure with Bangor City in the Build a Nation save. We've got Scottish action galore from Dundee United in our live stream series. And loads of football content, particularly from the Championship, over on the podcast channel as well. But a massive thank you for watching, your continued support with the new club. Let me know down in the comments how you think it's going. And I'll see you next time for 2 massive tests in the Midlands, as well as a transfer deadline bonanza. Let's hope it is anyway. I'll see you there.